Happy holidays, everyone. I've just been on a break here, came back home again, just chilling, having some good times. A lot of cool stuff came out I wanted to talk about, but before that, a TV show dropped last week. I'm sure a lot of you are a fan of it. If you've either read the books, and there's a lot of books, I haven't read the books. Either you've played the video games, there's a lot of video games. I haven't played the video games. But Netflix dropped the first season of The Witcher. A very interesting premise for a book series. Could this one rival Game of Thrones? Could. I think it could. Did this season do it for me? No. It didn't rival the first season of Game of Thrones for me. I'm sad to say that, but it was just okay. First off, again, I have not read the books or played the video games, so I don't know what is accurate to the source material and what isn't, if certain characters are gonna look a certain way. I know there's a controversy around one of the female characters for her casting. I don't know which one. If I had to guess, it was Tress or Triss. I think she was supposed to be a redhead. I don't know. Somebody, if you could confirm that for me in the comments, I would actually be very interested in knowing that, because I thought she was okay. The world that this TV series built is very interesting, but it's not as interesting as a Game of Thrones. As a guy who likes the political side of all these kind of shows and the more psychological intrigue than the actual action side of a fantasy world, it was okay to see that. It was very basic in terms of how we're establishing the hierarchy and the royalty here. It was a very simple, here are your creatures, here's the, elves are less than human and that kind of stuff, and witchers are disgraces across the land. I get that. Okay, you got me there. I'm interested. That is a good idea to set up because there's not a lot of witchers left. And then Geralt shows up and he's a big deal everywhere he goes, which I like that. There's actually one term I think that really defines what this show was, and that is a bruh moment. Now I'm gonna read you guys the Urban Dictionary definition of a bruh moment and tell me if this doesn't apply to what we saw on the show. Bruh moment is a blanket term for all situations that merit a reaction, whether it be shock, awe, or any other strongly felt emotion. In these such situations, one must simply say, bruh. This whole show was just, here's a reaction, here's an emotion, have this feeling, which it was okay. The acting was very interesting because I think you could look at this and easily think it's not well acted. There's certain characters in here who I don't know the names. I probably shouldn't even be talking about this because I didn't learn anything. I got a few names, some vague ideas of the character, and I don't even remember the name of any of the places they went. I couldn't tell if they were saying Milfgard or Nilfgaard the entirety, and I didn't look it up because I'm too lazy. So if somebody could tell me if it's a Milf or a Nilf, let me know. I'm interested in that too. There was enough there to keep me interested, but I just don't think it was as well put together as some people said. And I was talking to my brother-in-law because he's played the games and he knows a lot about the history, and he said it was really accurate to that source material and to everything that we see with Geralt. So I'm like, okay, that works for me. One of the things I didn't like was the confusing timeline. It was presented in a way where it was supposed to flow like linearly, and that's how I thought it was supposed to be, but then it didn't really turn out to be that way. And we see things happening at different times all over the place, and I didn't like it. I think you can do the non-linear storytelling, but you can present it in a way that is better than the way this was presented, because the way this one just came about, we're seeing two stories happen at once, and we're led to believe that they're happening at the same time, but they're not. And then we go back and forth a few times, and characters are in places that we're not expecting characters to be, and they're just like, you're sitting there, and you're seeing how these characters act, you're just like, bruh, what? That was a big problem for me because it kind of took out of the flow of how I was having this experience happen, and it just didn't help me engage in the story when everything happened at a different time than what I was led to believe it was happening at. There's a lot of characters in here that I thought were very iffy. Yennefer is a very complicated character for me. I think she started off very interestingly. As time went on, I lost interest. She's my least favorite character on this show. I didn't find her story appealing, and that's no disrespect to the actress. I just think the way that character was presented in this wasn't that interesting. She hardly learned her lesson. She just wanted to get back at the people that took something from her, and then she never really got back, and then she kind of just, everything fell into place and things happened to her because of plot convenience. So I'm like, if we're doing more seasons, now she's connected to Geralt, so we're gonna get more of her, and I did not like her story. When the camera was on her, I just kind of like zoned out because I didn't really have an attraction or an attachment to her character. So she just kind of went by and it happens and whatever. That sometimes you're watching a show and there's a character you just don't like, but it doesn't take away from your experience all that much because everything else you're still invested in. And on that note, I mean, I was really interested in Henry Cavill when he did this. I looked up a lot of his stuff involvement. He did a lot of training for this, a lot of sword fighting training, learned to lower his voice, do some more brooding emotion, like exterior physical body work, so there'd be less dialogue for Geralt to express how he feels, which kudos to Henry Cavill. He obviously cared about this character and knew a lot about the source material going in, so I very appreciate the work he put into that, and it shows really well. You can tell he's putting his all into here and he's doing something that not a lot of the other actors are doing, and that's acting with a presence. A lot of other people are just kind of there, reading their lines, being a part of the scene, but you could tell Cavill's like, this is important. This book changed a lot of people's lives. The games made so much money. You have to understand what's coming from here. And he did great. Would have been cool to see him with the beard. I think we're gonna get the beard later on. I'm sensing we're gonna get to that again. I don't know a lot about this. I know he has a beard, and I know we have a character in season 2 that's like the guy who raised him, and people are saying Mark Hamill should be that guy. That's cool. I'm on board with that. So it's an interesting show. The action sequences are incredible, and the hair and makeup team, all the prosthetics, everything is amazing. Like, there was definitely a lot of money and time put into this show, and the production, because of that, it really shows something beautiful and unique. And I don't think it's gonna rival Game of Thrones though. Not yet. The 4 seasons down the line, if we get that far, maybe. But as it stands, this one feels more like a low-budget Lord of the Rings than it does a sweeping epic like Game of Thrones. A lot of cool monsters in here too. Gotta say, I respected the use of the monsters. They looked really interesting, really unique. Things you don't normally see in a fantasy film, so that was really neat. And you know, it's just a bruh moment. I couldn't help but say bruh every time something happened, because everything's connected and things happen because of the law of surprise. And here you go, here's this convenience, and it was a completely good show if you're looking for that fantasy fix that you so desperately need. That next big thing that could take you away, it could be this. Or you could see it how I saw it and everything works, but the way it's working, it's not for you. And that's fine too. Not everything has to work for you. If you just want something to watch in the background, I think this is a good one to watch in the background. I'm not gonna watch it again. I don't feel like I need to. I've seen enough of what I need to see from it. And when season 2 comes out, I'm definitely gonna check it out. But this one, it's just easy. It was there, I watched it, and I'm not gonna overthink it or think about it after I talk about it here, because it's just decent television. Kudos to Henry Cavill though. He knocked it out of the park. So that is gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to hit the like button, thumbs up, notify that shit, and subscribe to the channel. More content coming your way, more interesting stuff I want to do with the fantasy genre of storytelling, because I got a good idea, but I want to get some numbers up first before I do it. So come on, let's pump it up. Let's do something cool here. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Happy holidays.